So, Hasan Piker. We're back at on. We're back. We're back. We're back. So, where do we start? There's a difference between being chatty and chatting nonstop on things that you have no clue about. I'm chatty, okay? I talk a lot. But at least my takes don't include saying stuff like, oh, Russia's basically just taking back its own territory when it invades Ukraine, which I'm sorry to say, Hassan, there is no amount of context that can make that statement better. There is no amount of magic context that you could throw at us that would make this statement any less ridiculous and stupid. And just this statement should have cost him viewers. The fact that it didn't just left me flabbergasted. It was like, I'm pretty sure if the first he first started by saying that everybody's stupid and that Russia will never invade. I think that was, it does reek of a imperialism apologia, because it is. It reeks of what it is. And like at first it was like, oh, Russia will never invade. You're all being fear mongering, stupid people or something. And then it did. And instead of being like, oh, I was wrong, sorry, everyone, I guess I was mistaken. No, he went in the direction of saying, yeah, yeah, it invaded, Russia invaded, but it's actually okay that it did. What? Huh? And that it's actually just, Russia taking what's its. And like the key argument was Russian speakers in the eastern parts of Ukraine. Because Hasan Piker has never in his life looked up a little bit of a thing called russification. You know, that thing that in fact that impacted all of the countries which were part of the Russian Empire, Poland included. You know, that at the end of, give or take, 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, there were tons of Russian speakers in Poland as well, right? That the situation in Poland was actually pretty damn similar to the eastern terrains of Ukraine. So what should be my takeaway from this by Hassan's logic? Please tell me, Hassan. What is the, I guess Poland's next. Poland's next for the munching. I just Google russification and you'll learn anything. There's a wiki. Let's do it. This is so ridiculous. And we haven't we have not even gotten into the main thing yet, by the way, about Hassan. There's more. There's more. We're just setting the stage, okay? We're just doing a little bit of Vouch. Vouch. Oh, we don't care about Vouch today. Schnauzer. Russificatia. There you go. We don't look at it in English. Puppers. Russification, just so that we know what we are talking about here. For God's sake. Like it was I and some people got into ridiculous arguments with me about this, by the way. I had a person, because I sort of mentioned that Ukraine was doing de-Russification, that it removed some of the Russian books from its curriculum and it sort of replaced them with other types of books. And the person was angry, saying, "This is ridiculous." Oh, of course, the person's from the US. This is ridiculous. It's censorship. It's taking away the freedom of speech. And wow, yes, it's it's censorship and evil when a country is trying to undo the process of Russification. I sometimes I just lose faith. Russification, Russificatia, or Russianization is a form of cultural assimilation in which non-Russians, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, give up their culture and language in favor of the Russian culture and the Russian language. In a historical sense, the term refers to both official and unofficial policies of the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union with respect to their national constituents and to national minorities in Russia aimed at Russian domination and hegemony. The major areas of Russifications are politics and culture. In politics, all element of Russification is assigning Russian nationals to lead administrative positions in national institutions. In culture, Russification primarily amounts to the domination of the Russian language in official business and the strong influence of the Russian language on national idioms. The shifts in demographics in favor of the ethnic Russian populations are sometimes considered a form of Russification as well. Hasan Piker. Analytically, it is helpful to distinguish the Russification as a process of changing one's ethnic self-label or identity from a non-Russian ethnonym to Russian, from Russianization, the spread of the Russian language, culture, and people into non-Russian cultures and regions, distinct also from Sovietization of the imposition. History. So yes. And yes, Poland also underwent Russification. Let me see. Oh, damn, there's a whole article on it. Don't mind if I do. Hmm? Russification of Poles during the partitions. Russification of Poland, Polish rusyfikacja na ziemiach polskich, was an intense process, especially under partitioned Poland, when the Russian state aimed to denationalize Poles via incremental enforcement of language, culture, the arts, the Orthodox religion, and Russian practices. The most forceful Russification was enforced onto children due to their poor knowledge of Polish culture and language. But that's fine, isn't it, Hasan Piker? I guess if the Russification was completely successful, I guess then Russia invading Poland would just be taking back its territory in a way, I guess. Huh? After the November uprising, the self-will of Grand Duke Constantine and the infraction of the Constitution of the Kingdom of Poland, together with the rise of secret societies, led to the November uprising. The intensification of Russification occurred after the aforesaid uprising failed, leading to the abolishment of the Constitution of 1815, granting the Kingdom of Poland national autonomy. In 1832, with the implementation of the organic statute of the Kingdom of Poland, the same was liquidated along with the kingdom's armed forces. Russian institutions and law was implemented, and any aid to the November uprising had their landed property seized. Martial law was implemented in 1833. All decisions were given by Russian military chiefs and Namiestnik Ivan Paskevich. The retained Council of State had a Russian majority. Gradually, most aspects of society were subject to central authority in St. Petersburg. The Vilnius University, Chemnitz Lyceum, and other Polish gymnasiums were liquidated. More radical Russification occurred in the parts of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth that after the partitions were not incorporated into the Kingdom of Poland and instead directly into the Russian Empire. The Vilnius University and Chemnitz Lyceum were closed down, and retribution for the participation of the students in the November uprising between 1832 and 1834 by royal prerogative of Tsar Nicholas I, several thousand Polish families were expelled to Siberia from Wołyń and Podole. When in 1839 the Uniate Church was liquidated, its followers and priests were forced to convert to Eastern Orthodoxy. The Roman Catholic Church was further restrictions, with its landed wealth seized. After proclaiming support for the January uprising, property was similarly seized from the participants of the January uprising, with land properties having. There's a lot to talk here. And I find it really interesting that according to Hasan Piker, the very fact that the process of Russification produced a lot of Russian speakers within Ukraine, well, then it basically means that when Russia invades, it's basically just taking back what's Russian, right? Because it has Russian speakers, right? It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? No, 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 it doesn't. It actually does not make any sense. It's stupid. And so, a little streamer by the name of Dylan Burns has organized a meetup of people, Ukrainian people, of those Russified regions, of those eastern regions of Ukraine. And they were allowed to express their view on the amazing, brilliant, well educated takes on Hasan Piker, the foreign affairs genius of our time. Because, after all, if we are discussing things that are about Ukrainian people and affect Ukrainian people, you might as well consider asking Ukrainian people themselves what they think, what their opinion on the matter is, right? You might as well ask, right? And one of the mentioned people that were asked to give their opinion is a person that I consider a friend, and vice versa. We have spoken, I want to say, at least 2 times on this stream, and we've also spoken, well, and we've also had a shared appearance on Loner Box. That's a whole other thing. And we've spoken a lot in private as well. And that's Anastasia. She was one of the people that gave her opinions on Hasan Piker's brilliant, brilliant takes. Let's just say that criticism was levied against Hasan Piker, and understandably so, because Hasan Piker has been infamously bad when it comes to his opinions on Ukraine specifically. Like and this is not some niche content creator. Like Hasan Piker is not a Lucy Hazet size content creator. He has reach. What he says, actually people listen to it, which is why it's extremely bad when a person with such a big reach, isn't he considered like the biggest, one of the biggest political commentators, at least on Twitch? So it's actually pretty bad when a person like this gives horrible, pro-imperialist, quite honestly, uninformed opinions on stuff like that. And so the video was released recently. Ukrainian people have given their opinion on Hasan Piker's takes. And at that point, what should have happened in a perfect scenario would be In a perfect scenario, Hassan would look at this and say, it seems like I was completely wrong on this. If people that are directly involved in the situation are saying that I am completely wrong on all of this, then maybe, just maybe, I am completely wrong on this. But that is not exactly what we got. What we have gotten is not the perfect scenario. What we got was a bizarre response from Hassan saying that Dylan Burns is a psychopath, a perversive psychopath, because it's psychopathic to ask Ukrainian people on their opinions on things, and that he has been quoted out of context. He's been taken out of context. The context. Please, please provide the missing context for us, Hasan Piker. Because for the love of me, I just cannot see it. I just cannot see the context. There is no redeeming context that could make any of what he said better. Here we are. I guess Dylan's a psychopath, and it's totally horrible to ask Ukrainian people about their opinion on whatever is happening to them. That's what? You're asking Ukrainian people for their opinion on their own oppression? What are you, a psycho? What is this? And of course, poor Hasan Piker has been taken out of context. And so, I guess this is a little bit of an experimental. This is an experimental segment. I sort of wanted to at first to react to the videos. I wanted to sort of react to the video to the Hassan's response and to the interview with Anastasia and the other people. But instead, let's not give Hassan the view, and I'm just going to I just decided to do a little bit of a rant about this whole thing. And instead, I'm just gonna link the interview with the people in the chat so that anyone who has not watched it yet can just watch it. So in other words, I have reacted without directly reacting, and now I can share the good thing. This is it. Boom. Boom. This is the relevant video. I'm gonna make sure that it is actually. Yeah, it is. That's the video. Excellent. Excellent. So if you have enjoyed this little experimental rant, then like, subscribe, bell, and all that good stuff that you usually do when you like a thing on YouTube. And don't forget on Twitter to add YouTube, Team YouTube, and complain about Dylan Burns being demonetized. You can do that as well. We're done with this. How was it? How was this? I want some feedback from the chat. Give me some feedback, please. Please. Oh. I think it was good. It's good. Perfect. That's perfect. We've done it. We have managed it. At who? At 2? I didn't know Hassan was that. Oh, he is. He is that bad. But I do encourage you to watch that video that's linked here. And leave a comment, preferably that you came from the pond or something. Level surf. So yes, that is basically it.